Hello everybody, DJ Trains here. As you all know, last year I did a video titled Layout Tour 2, in which I gave you all a big tour of my Thomas & Friends diecast layout, showcasing all changes and additions from 2021. And so I thought that this year I'd continue the tradition and give you all a big tour of my Thomas & Friends diecast layout, showcasing all changes and additions from 2022. So, let's get into it. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into this new updated layout tour. So as always, we're going to start right down here at Arlesdale, and again, apologies for any background noise that may happen. But okay, so Arlesdale. Arlesdale has stayed relatively the same. There's been a few updates, however. For starters, there's a new bench. I know, a crazy update, a bench. Notably, on this corner, we have some water effect. It's just the same as Brendam. You know, the construction paper. So it's not the cleanest cut. Like, I might redo it. I don't know. But yeah. Also, very, very happy about this new addition. The Sodor Valley Canal Boat. Not really sure as to why it would be kind of hanging out in the ocean. My guess is that maybe the canal kind of goes into this sort of area of Sodor, and that's why it hangs out there. Another notable thing, I guess, would be that now most of these buildings are fairly secured to the ground, or the table. Not, like, insanely. Like, there's still a little bit of wiggle room, but I mean, they are... you know, a lot more secure than they once were. Same with these people here, this guy and these guys. And you know, and Arlesdale, since I got the extension, pretty well has always had this sort of loop line, and then the Arlesdale Miniature Railway. This dog bone shape is fairly new. I'm pretty sure this was present in the last layout tour. But yeah, this is still, at least in terms of the more recent layout, this is still fairly recent. So moving on down the line, we have Arlesdale, Mike, Rex, and Bert chilling out there, the engine wash, all the pack. Once again, we come to Ulfstead Castle. Ulfstead Castle is probably the part of my layout that changes the least, because there's literally nothing I have to do there. I might add more people at some point, because it does look fairly bare, and I'm hoping to buy a Steven with a white funnel, because that obviously is the Steven with the black funnel. And the only other Steven I have with a white funnel is the one that's got jam all over it, which I don't like. So yeah, Ulfstead Castle is very unlikely to change. So yeah. Next, and this is pretty massive, I think, Maithwaite. Maithwaite has changed a lot. Now it is a mainline station. I tweeted about this, so you guys might have seen this. But, like, Maithwaite in general has just changed so much. So, if you guys remember, originally Maithwaite, when, like, the station buildings were right here, the main line branched off to there. Or actually, no, this loop branched off to there. And the main line actually went through the back of Farmer McColl's farm. Well, now, the main line traverses right through the station. And from there, you can access, coming from this direction, obviously, you can access the bakery. It's got its own little baker. Oh, just bumped a tree. And, of course, you come to the farm, which also connects back out to the original spot where Maithwaite connected. There's a lot more farm animals now. These are all recent additions, like the chickens, I mean. That's recent. The geese are recent. These two houses are recent, and that house there is also fairly recent. All the other buildings have been here for a bit, though. Like, it's basically just lined up in a way that will make it kind of look better. This is Mail Depot too here. Oh, and then we have this town hall building, which is quite a fairly new addition. I think it might actually be a church, but I like it as the Maithwaite Town Hall, so I'm just going to call it the Maithwaite Town Hall. We have the Confused family and the Red House, and the Search and Rescue Center, again, has stayed fairly the same. Moving on down the line, we have the sawmill, which I don't know if this little, actually no, it wouldn't have, because I got this in June of 2022. This little thing here is a pencil sharpener, actually, and this down here too came with it. I don't know how this works as a pencil sharpener. Maybe it's through that, I don't know. But yeah, so that's a pencil sharpener. I thought it looked really cool. I actually have to stick this down though still, so I'll work on that at some point. But yeah, this can probably be propped up a little better. But yeah, so we have the sawmill, the windmill. Once again, these strings kind of slack a bit. I really need to fix that, but otherwise it's not too bad actually. Come down here, we have some more logs. These are also new. George the Steamroller. I've never really wanted George anywhere else. I like him there, so I think he's going to stay there. And then we come down here, and we've got this little cottage that actually used to sit there when I redid Maithwaite. Originally sat way over there, then I moved it here, but then after I redid Maithwaite, and then that sits there, so now it's here. Come down the line a little more, and we have the signal box, and this girl standing here, and a car, and I don't know that this shed, I don't think this shed was in the last layout tour. No, it was not. So yeah, this is a new addition. I thought it really completed the sawmill area. It just oh, my finger's in the way. Here's my hand. Yeah, I really thought this completed the sawmill area. It just adds a nice bit of breakup, but also just a nice kind of fill, because this area was relatively empty. All that was there was the cars. So now not only do we have this really cool, and this is actually a really nicely detailed building too. Apologies for the camera jumping. I have the newest iPhone. It's got 3 different camera lenses, and when you zoom in, it jumps from lens to lens, especially when it has to refocus. But yeah, so like, it's a really, really nicely detailed little building, and I quite enjoy it. So that's basically why that's there. Phillips space, it looks good. So if I bring my camera down, you can kind of see the sticky tack right there, obviously, first of all. Yeah, so you can kind of see the rest of that, and that's kind of where that goes. So bringing the camera back up, we come down the main line a little more. We have this little cottage here. Well, cottage. More like a mansion, kind of. This house, I can't imagine it's nice living next to the train tracks, though. This tree, which I really need to resecure. And then this little bonfire area, which I need to add people to at some point. But I had these benches that actually didn't come with the fire pit. But I had the benches, and I thought, and I put the fireplace there, or fire pit there, and I thought, man, it would just look great to have a little kind of bonfire next to this big industrial engine yard. And I actually have something like that on the Farquhar side of the island, but you'll see that in a bit. So, fireplace here, benches, it all looks pretty good. Obviously, we also have the Diesel Works, which, again, doesn't change. The Diesel Works really hasn't changed that much. I don't think since it's been there, I don't think it's changed. Same engines. This diesel, I think, might have changed, but it also might have been in there the last time, so I don't know. But yeah, so there is that. So same engines. Also behind that, we have a new little building. It's kind of Christmassy. I might turn it around, but I like the front door, so who knows. Moving down the line, we have a new station. I'm probably going to designate this as like Crovan's Gate Station. I know it's nowhere near the narrow gauge lines, but I like this little tiny area with the works over here to be Crovan's Gate. So I think in the interest of that, it might just be Crovan's Gate. So moving on down here, we have the bench and the fence, which also have moved. And we have Crovan's Gate area, which really has kind of come into its own over the past little bit. There's a fence in the back, a new smaller house. Again, apologies for any background noises. The potting shed there, and just other buildings and stuff. This is a Christmas shop, and it literally says Christmas shop. So why it's not moved, I don't know. I think I just like it. It just fills up space, and it's nice. Here we have a really, really sad part of the layout. A part that I really haven't updated. It's Whiff's waste dump. I really just don't know what to do with Whiff and Scruff most of the time. So having the little area back here, I think, just works the best. So yeah. Moving on, yeah, so of course you have, Victor and Kevin and the whole scene works, and plus the paint shed. So moving back down the line, I forgot to mention, of course, the loop, the sawmill loop. It's a loop line that goes around the sawmill. And of course the Maithwaite Bridge itself. The Maithwaite Bridge really has come into its own over the past little bit, because it was one track with the hill going down here, then I extended it, and then the Coley Fell came in, so it really has come into its own little shed there. Coming across the bridge, we have this nice little pond. I got this in a 3-pack with this pond here as well. I forgot to mention that, and this farmer. It's really big, but I think it's alright. Forgot to mention that, but yeah, like, these ponds are really nice. I really like them. They add just a nice little bit of blue, and otherwise very, very green saturated kind of looking area. So then, of course, we come down the hill, and we meet, oh, Godred's on its hills. Or not Godred, Lord Harry. The Coldy Fell engines. So as you all might know, it was only Coldy last time, but now we have Godred and Lord Harry. I received these in, I think, April of 2022. So these guys have been here for a bit now. But, you know, they really, really do kind of make this a lot nicer. And it really just, yeah, looks a lot better. So, of course, you know, there's the points here, but the Coldy Fell obviously loops. Well, I gotta sticky tack that down, I think. Goes underneath the Maithwaite Bridge and up to the top of Coldy Fell. Down here we have the windmill and this lady. Once again, I will explain that I considered calling this Ruth's windmill, but I really don't like Ruth or her windmill or any of her inventions. So, yeah. Over here we have the Coldy Fell Mines with Hector. Hector kind of gets neglected, unfortunately. He doesn't really leave the mines that much. Who knows? He might soon. So continuing on the line, we come to the Ironworks, which really hasn't changed that much. You'll find that with some places, like they just, because I've found uses for them, really have improved and changed. Others haven't. This dinky car might not have been there. I forget. What am I bumping into? I don't know. So that's Bert back there, and oh no, wait, Bert's here, Aries back there. So yeah, that's that. Once again, the Ironworks, it really hasn't changed. So yeah. Moving over here, we have Knapford Village, which really, I think, has come a long way since the first layout tour. Not only do we have a toy shop and a candy store, which if you are a bigger fan of Thomas, you'll know that there actually is a toy shop at Knapford. So this is a really cool inclusion. And this roof is falling off, but I have to fix it. But we also have a great big clock tower with a bell that actually moves. I can't like move it right now because it's stuck to the ground. If I had a toothpick or something, I would. But yeah, so there actually is a bell in there, and I think it really just kind of makes everything look a lot better. So then, of course, we have the main village, which has become a lot more crowded since I've tried to move the clock tower in and kind of balance everything out. But I still think it looks great. We have, you know, the little station with Forrest Gump on the bench and his chocolates and Sir Topham hat. And, you know, this little fire hydrant. And you move down here, and I really do think... Oh, and of course, you know, the Wooden Railway Express coaches, which I think are just kind of a nice little cherry on top of it all. But yeah, again, it really has come into its own, and I am very, very happy with how Knapford has turned out. And for as much as I hate to say it, because it's not the most detailed Knapford Station building... The title tracks really are some of the best Knapford Station merchandise that the Diecast Ranges did, in my opinion. So yeah. Moving on, we have Tidmouth, which hasn't really changed. I think out of all the places on the island, Tidmouth and Ulstead have changed the least. They just don't really need a lot of change, you know? And plus, I like to keep this area as open as possible because you need to be able to kind of see the engines. The more buildings I start piling here and here, the more just cluttered and crowded it becomes. If I can find like a small coal hopper to stick like right here, then maybe. Small chance. But, you know, for now, it's fine. Also, I just wanted to show off this because I think it's really cool. But yeah, so, you know, the main gang, Thomas, Henry, Gordon, James, Percy. Edward's not here because he's at Wellsworth. A, because I like to stick somewhat to the continuity of the show, but B, I didn't really have room. So yeah. Okay, so that's Tidmouth, and of course, you know, I keep the back of Tidmouth open because you can't fit the tender engines in. Of course, it looks like you can, but if I push them in back and I close the shed doors, they don't fit, so yeah. Moving on down the line even further, you have the Brendam Docks set, which really, I think, has improved a lot over the past year. You have this fence back here, which is a really recent addition. So you have this fence, which I think really breaks up that back kind of gray wall. Just kind of adds that little extra detail. But then you also have this nice little fire department house, which is nice. And then I believe that lighthouse was there last time. As well as, no, actually, so these Trial Maple Leaf trucks weren't there last time. I got these probably about summer of 2022. No, not summer. It was probably about the winter. Anyway, I really like them. It's just kind of that nice piece of, like, Canada to have on my layout. And, you know, you can make up some bull bullcrap thing that I'm just gonna leave that for now. Some bullcrap thing to explain their presence there. But then of course you have Madge and the CN car and all the tank engines, which are all over the place. The tank engines down there. And you come around the front, you have a little firefighter in the fire truck and Craig and his operator. A couple things I'm really excited about for the dockyard. We have a paddle boat, which I think is really, really cool. I don't know what that is. Stuff in the ceiling. Yeah, so this is the Mark Twain. Also, oh, I can't focus now. Oh, there we go. This is the Mark Twain. It's also a pencil sharpener, but it's got the paddle wheels which move, and it's just a really, really nice piece to have on the layout. So yeah. Coming over here, we also have this little capsule play rail crane boat, which isn't anything like remarkable as far as like detail, but it really kind of brings in that sort of season 2-3 feel from the waterways. So I really like it. It really just kind of adds to the layout. I think it looks really good. So once again, so that's that. All this stuff over here. I guess I gotta probably move the lighthouse so you guys see it at work. That's probably one of the coolest sound effect things I have on my layout. So yeah, so that's Brendam Docks pretty well. I think I covered it all. So okay, so moving on. Another thing that's changed a lot, Wellsworth. Wellsworth has not been the most detail-oriented station on my... Oh, why did I knock? Oh, this guy. Oh, he died. No, nobody saw that, okay? Nobody. Anyway, Wellsworth has never been the most detail-oriented location on my layout. However, I decided to make it a mainline station as opposed to the kind of curve off from the airport it was before. So now it's just a straight shot from this switch over to where Reg is here. And then it goes from here all the way down and kind of past that. So now we have this station. Oh yeah, we have Boko on the layout now. How you doing, little Boko? This is a Bandai Boko, I believe. So it's not like die-cast, but it's a really nice build. Like, it's a nice plastic mold. I really do like it. It's got some pretty nice, accurate detailing. The only thing I don't like is the greens don't really match up too well. But other than that, it's a nice model. So yeah, and then the scrapyard's back here. I don't know why that's like that. That was meant to be like that. Yeah, so scrapyard's back here. We have all those junk and stuff, and the main... This is actually the... That's not far. No, yeah, I'm trying to remember what station. It was a random station from a Trackmaster set that I pulled and put there. We have the signal tower, of course, and, you know, Tiger Moth, which is another capsule play roll thing, but super, super awesome. We have Tiger Moth, of all things. Once again, apologies for background noise. So, yeah, so we have Trevor, and then we have this, this bridge. So overall, it's a really, really, really nice setup, and I really think that Wellsworth has come into its own. I keep saying that, but I think 2022 has been the best year as far as my layout being as good as it possibly can be, because everything on the layout really has sort of come into its own as far as the essence of the layout and the essence of Sodor and the essence of what I want. So that's why I keep saying that. Moving on. We have the clay pits. Once again, not changed much. We just have Bill and Ben. I don't know why that's like that. That should not be like that. Bill and Ben, Marion, some trucks, the lorry, Fergus, Mavis, and Timothy. Oh, and of course this really cool mining building, which is nice. Also sticky tacked down now, so I don't have to worry about it moving. So that's also really cool. Okay, moving past the clay pits, we have the museum, and one of my favorite new additions. My layout now has a water wheel, which I think is really freaking cool. My layout headcanon is that there's probably like underground springs or something, which allows for Mrs. Kindly's water little stream and the water for this. But I don't know, it just looks so good. Like I've always wanted a water wheel on my layout, and now I actually have it, which is just so cool. So of course, if we bring the camera up, I can show you that Farquhar, the whole Farquhar end is actually a loop line. So you start here, and it goes up, goes underneath the quarry and around, and back out. So we start down here, and yeah, okay, so we'll start here. So of course, you know, this goes up to the sheds, And we have the Farquhar sheds. We have Donald, Douglas, Oliver, Duck. I probably screwed up the order of that, but whatever. Donald, Douglas, Oliver. Toad is in behind Oliver. Duck, Molly, Murdoch, Rebecca, and Nia. I like Rebecca and Nia back here much more, personally. Ryan and Daisy. And an old Slow Coach, which is also a newer addition to the layout. Can't see her. I'm not going to pull her out because I don't want to bump into that. So, moving on from there, because that's basically all there is. Farquhar sheds, also the windmill, and the miller in his house, and Elizabeth, and the halt for the windmill. So then down here, of course, we have the Blue Mountain Quarry, which, once again, hasn't changed very much, but I still think is very much worth talking about, as it's the only narrow gauge location I have on my layout. It is very unfortunate, but I just simply don't have the room for a narrow gauge extension. So yeah. That's Blue Mountain Quarry, Owen, narrow gauge engines. There you go. Alright, so that ends this third layout tour, Layout Tour 3. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun to make this, so I really do appreciate all the love that you guys give my layouts. So thank you very much. I hope that next year's can be even better. Although I will say that this may or may not be the last layout tour, because next year I just might not have that much new stuff to show off. Regardless, thank you guys. Thank you for all the support and love you give my layout. It's one of my many joys and passions, and so to see you guys love it just kind of warms my cold, dead heart. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next vid. Bye, guys.